Now I'm going to log out and log in again as a document, someone with a doc specialist role and an admin role as well. So now we can look at the review process and how do you do this if you maybe don't want to do a review. And I did want to take this time to talk about the emails, because I know we've had some issue with the emails. Pretty much everybody's had the issues with the emails. We're still working on that. We're about to should have it cleared up in the next day or two, hopefully, and have those emails turned off. In some cases, they went to multiple employees when they shouldn't have, and at a minimum, they were going to other doc specialists, maybe saying this document is awaiting your review. So we've always had those emails on the system, but if you never used our approval process, you would have never seen those emails. Now, in the past, you would assign somebody to approve a document if you were using that. That one person would get an email saying, you know, this document is awaiting your approval. So something happened in the install and the rollout of this application that instead of just sending that one person, it's sending to all doc specialists now. And like, as I said, some people, it was sending to multiple employees throughout the company. That issue was fixed, but it's still going to doc specialists when it shouldn't. And that is what we were still working to correct. So if you guys don't use the review process and you're getting emails saying, hey, this is waiting your approval, just know to disregard. Like I said, we hope to have that fixed in the next day or two so that you're not getting, that your doc specialists aren't getting spammed with those, and kind of, they don't really make sense if that is not assigned for your approval. And we're not really assigning documents for approval anymore in this new version. It's now called review. So once we get those cleared up, you will see new emails that will go out and they'll be worded differently. They'll have a new format and they're going to say there's a document awaiting your review, and not approval. So, and okay, let's continue on here. One thing I had a little note here. Yeah, one of the features that they wanted me to point out with this gear column, and some of you have even asked about this, it'll be a great feature. We have a lot of data here on this page, right? You may not need to see your location column if you only have one location. So one of the features or enhancements we will be rolling out is the ability to hide some of these columns if you don't use them. So that would be an example of a setting that we will be putting here, and hopefully sooner rather than later that you can start hiding some of those columns. Okay, so let's go back to reports here. Actually, your employees can see reports. The reports is basically your master documents register. So you have 3 ways to view it. If you come to MDR by title, you're going to get a list of all of your documents in the master documents application listed alphabetically by their title. Now, there are no sorting or anything here at this time for the screen. It's just your MDR by title is going to be listed here. You can come to this tab to see master documents register by categories. You have multiple categories because you've got document types, which could be procedures, forms, work instructions. You've got maybe your departments or processes like HR, administrative, engineering. Any of those are going to be listed here. So if you want to see all your forms, you can do that, and instantly there's all your forms. If you want to see all your administrative, just in this simple list format, similar to the other screen, master documents, but you can see there's a lot less columns, so it's kind of a cleaner, just a list of your documents if you need that. We also have this third tab for MDR by folder, and these are basically going to be your document type folders like you have over in the document specialist corner. So again, you know, you can do it here, see your procedures, forms, work instructions. So that is the master documents register. And again, the employees can see that. This last feature where you see add, we used to have the new document request, and it used to be over on either the top menu or the left menu. This is where employees, anybody in the company had access to submit a document, basically to request it be made into, you know, a procedure form, work instruction, or whatever. This is the same thing. So that's just how you get to new document request now. That's what the add is. So if you hit add, the screen hasn't changed. You'll still submit a document request the same way. I don't know that this was a very widely used. I know some companies were using it, but that's what the add feature is. So that was the couple of additions there. We'd had a lot of requests for, how do I get my master documents register list? So that's why we added those things there. So another thing I want to point out, hopefully everybody's still with me. My tasks for a document specialist looks a little different in that it has this second tab here. Now, every employee and doc specialist has this tab. And still, even as a doc specialist, if something gets assigned to you for review, say you're at a company with multiple doc specialists, they may assign something to you or employees, it will show up here for you, whether you're an employee or a document specialist for your review. So again, here are a few examples that are waiting for this user, John Smith. This is one that I had just uploaded a second ago. If you look in there, you can see one person has not reviewed it. John Smith, which is who I'm logged in now, I have already requested changes. So this one is just waiting on this guy. Test manual 1, again, you can see what everybody's done. 2 people have not reviewed it. 1 person has requested changes there. And let's see, close those all back up. This top one is one that's been through a few review cycles. So this first cycle, it already had one. It was sent out, changes were requested by Albert. This person okayed it. So you had 2 responses. So what happened is once the document specialist got that information back, reviewed what they wanted, he edits his document and he sends it out again, or she. Now you could go through this cycle back and forth 2 or 3, multiple times, and you can start out with the Word document because you may want to initially send a Word document so people can make their edits, send it back and forth. Once you get all that final feedback and you're ready to send it out for the final review, the doc specialist, could save it as PDF and send out that final one as a PDF. Same thing, just an idea, just so you can do different document types. It doesn't always have to be a PDF only. You can do Word documents until you're ready to send out that final one. Then hopefully everybody says okay. And here is one of the bigger differences on this admin review tabs. What your document specialists are going to see here is everything that's awaiting a review or approval. So even if it wasn't sent out by you, I'm John Smith, but maybe I have another document specialist that's been also sending out documents. They're all going to show up here just so you can see at any given time, what's hanging out there, what's been uploaded but not yet finalized. And when you do upload a document now, as many of you have noticed, that it does require approval, even if you don't send it for review. With this new system, every document you upload does need to be approved. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do that. But at a minimum, the doc specialist or a doc specialist, any doc specialist could come in here and hit this approve button. You'll notice when I maximize the details here, there's no reviewers. And if I look at the information on this document, it's version 0, review cycle 1. It's got a workflow type, but in this case, it's irrelevant because it wasn't assigned for review. You can see it's assigned to 0 people and completed. So if your organization says, you know what, we do all this outside the system, that's fine. A lot of people do it that way. You'll upload it, not select any reviewers, go through filling out the rest of your attributes and submit it. And for now, we have this final step. You can approve it here by just hitting this approve button. Again, you don't see any reviewers listed like you do on these other ones because there is no reviewers. But I'm going to show you, there's another way you can approve it over in the document specialist corner, which may save you a little bit of time as well, make it a little easier. We are looking into a way to see if we can add a setting to bypass that whole required approval in every document. So if we get that implemented, we will definitely let everybody know that, we have implemented that. So that's the difference between the 2 tabs. Your employees don't see this, only the document specialist. And again, everything here is something that needs some kind of attention, whether it's waiting on reviewers or just waiting on that final doc specialist review. When your reviewers have all reviewed, like we said, there's a workflow all and a workflow first. Or let me see these. None of these have everybody approved it. A couple of things I want to point out. If this was sent for 2 people to review and some person just never reviews it, the document specialist can still hit approve here. They can decide, you know what, this person's out on vacation. I'm not going to wait. I really don't need their input. And so you can override that and go ahead and hit approve here at this point, and it'll be fine. If you see, you know, okay and okay, again, the doc specialist come in and okay it. The document specialist still has final say no matter what comes back to them here. So they can make the adjustments, resend it out for review, or however they want to do it, and re-upload it. And they just always need to make sure they come in and do that final approval there. Excuse me. And then they'll be ready to go. These status review status little andon lights there, I can explain what those mean. So generally you'll see green if everybody's reviewed. So say you see something here and it's got green, that means everybody that it was assigned to has already responded. So if everybody's reviewed and we're good to go, you'll be green. So that means it's just waiting on the doc specialist to give that final approval. If you see red, that's generally going to mean generally, I thought it meant nobody has responded, but maybe you're still waiting on, yeah, green is everybody. I thought, let me refresh this, because I thought red was nobody had responded yet. Come back over here. Yeah, it is. Okay, so red is nobody had responded, I think. Well, no. So I'm going to need to check on that. But generally, the idea we had for the andon lights is green if everyone's responded, or if it's workflow first and you have that first approval. So green, basically, it's just ready to be approved. Yellow is it's waiting on somebody, whether it's, you know, one reviewer because only one person out of 3 has reviewed, or 2 out of 3 have reviewed. And in the situation where nobody's assigned, it is still going to be yellow because it's still waiting on a final approval here. I think maybe that should be green, though, if we're going along the same theory. So let us look at those, but in general, green means it's ready to go. You're ready to approve it. Everybody's already responded. Red should mean nobody's responded, and yellow is kind of the something's in limbo. So somebody hasn't approved it yet. It's still kind of waiting on some responses to come in. So we'll take a look at that. Let's see. So let's go into the document specialist corner and see how we do this now. And a lot of this is very similar to what you had before. This all looks the same. You still right click over here to upload a new document, or, you know, a new version of a document would be on this side. So this would be new documents. You still right click over here and you have those similar, you know, upload a revision here with a new version. You can edit attributes at any time, but basically the same options are going to be here. Now, all these in pink, if you didn't use the approval process before, you didn't used to see these highlighted red or highlighted pink documents. These are all also documents waiting approval. What you can do if you want to approve from this screen right here, so say you go in and you upload a document and you immediately hit submit. Okay, and you don't want anybody to review it. It's going to be pink. You can immediately come right back in here instead of going to My Tasks. And if you scroll down here, you have this approve box. So you could always click here and hit update. So it's still requiring that extra approval step, but because you're already here, once you submit it the first time, it may be a little bit easier for you to just submit it here. Now, this one happened to have reviewers assigned, but if you didn't have reviewers and you just wanted to get it approved, that is going to be the simplest way to quickly approve a document. Now, of course, it's not that much more if you're uploading several documents or several revisions. You come in here, you get them all uploaded. And once you have them uploaded, you know, you could go over to My Tasks and just do everything through there as well. But if you're doing one and you're already on this page, you know, just right click there and you can take care of the approval as soon as you've uploaded it. Let's look at uploading a document from scratch just so we can walk through the new attributes. So again, this is very much the same as before. I'm going to just choose something with an obvious test document name. This is on our demo site. So once you've uploaded your document, again, it can be a PDF or a Word file. Here you've got your title, so you may want to adjust your title. Again, this area up top hasn't changed. Versions to keep, in case any of you are wondering, -1 means an unlimited number of versions. But you may already know that. You're going to enter in your document number just as you did before. This is where you choose that workflow type. And again, only if you're going to send this out for review. This becomes irrelevant if you're not going to do that. So it's not a required field and it defaults to all. So just set it if you're going to send this for review. Do you want everybody, all responders to respond, or do you just want the first? Otherwise, you can just ignore it and move past it. Your process owner is now a drop-down list, which is different than it was before. So this will be your list of employees. You just choose whoever you want to, who is the process owner for that document. Version, this is also referred to by some as revision. Revision and version meaning the same thing. So this may be version 0, it may be A, B, C, it may be, it's whatever you use for version. I know not everybody uses a version, but so we may look at removing this requirement, but right now it does require something. So you may just put a 0 or a 1 or whatever your actual version number is at this point. Your release date, of course, is going to be your release date or revision date if you're uploading a revision to a document. So it might be today or it might be last week whenever you finalize the document. We still have status, which we had before. Your statuses now, draft, under review, and release. These can be changed if you want to call them something a little bit different, and I'll show you where to do that in just a minute. But one thing I want to point out at this time, these statuses don't really change anything with the workflow of your document or the actions that your document takes. So for instance, if you mark it under review, it's not going to prevent it from posting live. These are almost just like a stamp for your information. So if you mark something under review, but it goes through the review or the approval and you set it live, it's going to go. It doesn't matter what this says. Or if you mark it released, but by accident, you're sending it out for review, it's not going to prevent it, it doesn't affect anything. And again, in the future down the road, we may set these in some way that they do have some kind of impact on the document, but at this time, which is the same as before. So if you use status before, or if you didn't, you can just mark them released if they are the documents you're posting. Next review date. So this field now populates automatically. Everybody's system should be set to a 12-month interval on this. This one is set to a month. They were all sent to a month, but we went ahead and fixed them all and at least put 12 months. Now you don't have to use it. It's not a required field. Many companies do not have a next review date that they set. That's fine. If you just put your mouse here on the calendar, you get an X to remove it. So it will default to 12 months. Again, we could change that to 24 months, 36 months, or something of your choice. Or you can just remove it if you don't want to have that release date there. One feature we added with this next review date, though, if you do decide to use it, as that release or review date approaches within like 30 days, which I think that will be an editable number of days. So you could do 30 days, or if you want to know 60 days in advance, I think the default is 30 days. It will send an email to the process owner that a review is coming up. So should you choose to use that feature, it does have notifications that go out, which is one of the reasons we changed this to a drop down. Many of you know you used to be able to come in and type in any process owner you wanted. So you'd get like J. Wargo, you'd get Jennifer, you'd get J. Wargo, a lot of inconsistencies, things like that. You could put in job titles and other things. You could put anything you wanted. But now in order to get the notification system working and make everything consistent, kind of easier, you don't have to type it in. We have gone to employee names here from your user list. So that is those fields. Now this reviewers is also a new field where you select any reviewers. You're going to have all your employees for your company show up here. This is just our demo site, so it's a very short list. So anybody that you would want or, who needs to review this document, this is where you'd go ahead and mark it. And again, if you don't want to send this to anybody for review, you just skip this part and it won't go for anybody's review. But you can send it to as many people as you want to, and they will get a notification that it's coming for their review. I'm not going to send this one to anybody right now. So we'll just leave that blank. And all this is very much as before. It's going to default with your employees having the view function, which is what it should be set on. If you're uploading a revision, it's also going to keep whatever, oops, sorry, something hit my phone, my watch. If you had a document already uploaded and this is your revision, it's going to take those defaults. Again, down here, categories, this is a new document, so I'm going to have to set my categories because this is a brand new document. If this was a revision, these would default like they did before to the area where you want this to show up. I'm just going to say Houston procedure for sales. Now I don't see update, so you might say, well, why don't I see my update button? I can't click it. So that means you've left off a required field. So let me just check my version. I deleted it out when I was giving you examples. And it's red, so it makes it easy to see what you're missing there. So once you have everything filled out like you want, you're going to update this just like before. And that's when you're going to get that red or pink test doc 1 here. Now, here's what I was going to show you. So it's like, you don't want to go to your My Tasks because that requires going to another page. If you're ready to just approve this, you will come in here, edit the attributes. It's going to take us right back where we were. Scroll down here. This was not here before. Now it is. So you couldn't do it on the first pass through. You will now approve that and you can just say update. It's kind of like a backdoor to the app is the way I think of it, to the approval process. The flow should take you to My Tasks, but if you're in here, you are the doc specialist, you have access to that, so you could just pop in there and approve it that way. So that might be a handy feature that helps some of you out. I'm going to go ahead and walk through uploading one more. Maybe let's do a revision to something. This one that I just approved, let's upload a revision just so we see something different there. I'm going to choose, let's upload, so many of these have the same name. This is going to be test NCR2 just to get a different document there. So we'll upload a document here. Again, this is a revision. Everything should default. You already had your title typed in. Your author is whoever's logged in. Your document numbers there, your workflow type, if you had used one. I'll go ahead and set it to first just so we do something different here. Your process owner is there, your version. Maybe we're doing version 1 now. I'm just going to use the same date. Excuse me. We'll say this one's going to be under review. And I'm going to, I'll leave this, but I'm going to set it to a different date. Let's put it out. Again, I'm doing this manually to 1 year, but y'all should default. Okay, there. At least default to the 1 year time period. I'm going to choose my reviewers here. So I'm just going to pick 3 reviewers like that. Now, because this is a revision and it was a document that was previously approved, you're going to see this here. And so as not to cause any confusion, I just want to explain, it looks like this is approved, but because the system is set to require an approval, as soon as we hit update here, the system removes that approval so that this will be forced to go for that approval. So when I hit update, it's still going to come up as pink, needing review. If we go back and just look, now I'm not going to approve it because I did set this for review by other people, but you'll see it was still there. And if you did send that out for review and still come in here and click approve, you're going to bypass all those reviewers and it's going to go ahead and be approved right here. So just be careful with that. If you're using the review, you wouldn't want to approve something that shouldn't be. Let's go back out here to my tasks and my reviews. We'll see here again, I did assign this to John Smith for a review cycle. So it was this test doc 1. I had changed the version from 0 to 1 so we can see this is that new document, review cycle 2, because it had done a review cycle previously. The workflow type is first and it is not reviewed by me yet. So again, it starts that process all over again. John Smith, Albert, and Moreau were assigned to review this. Nobody's reviewed yet. I can download it. I can review it. If I don't need to submit changes, I can just come in here and say, okay. If you do that, this is what it looks like. You know, this is good. Upload a file if you need to, but you probably don't need to if it's okay. And then you'll see that it's green. Once everybody has reviewed it, this is going to stay on your screen. So if this is assigned to you for review, it's going to stay here until the document specialist does that final approval and the document goes live. Then you will not see it here anymore on your page. So it does get cleaned out. It clears out once it goes live after that final approval. Again, here I'm a doc specialist as well, so I do see it in both places. If I open it up, I can see, yes, of course, I already said okay, and we're waiting on 2 other people. And again, once everybody responds, I'll just hit approve. I can upload a new version here. I can't think of really why I would ever want to. I like doing things directly in the document specialist corner, but you could, or if you knew you had a mistake somewhere in there with those attributes, this edit would take the doc specialist back to this page if you needed to, you know, if you had a category wrong or a date wrong and you wanted to update it quickly from that screen. One other thing that I just wanted to point out, we've just about gone through everything. We looked at the document detail page for an employee. So I just wanted to point out that when you come in as a doc specialist, you have a couple of more functions here. You do have the edit attributes, which is going to take you to the page we see in Doc Specialist Corner, and I'll show you in just a second, but you also have new version, which will let you choose the file and upload as well. So for instance, if I wanted to edit it directly from that master documents page, I can go to the details and it'll just take me here, make any changes and update it without having to go all the way to the Doc Specialist. You can upload a new version here as well. So you would choose your file just like when you're doing it in the Doc Specialist Corner, and then your next screen is going to be that attribute screen where you add all your attributes. So I think I have covered everything, just about everything. And I did want to point out there are still some little tweaks here and there. You know, we're hearing from some of our users like, oh, well, I did this and this happened. They've at least become few and far between. Some of our sites do have differences just due to the age of the sites and different features people had. And as we're streamlining everything, sometimes we roll something out and it works a little bit different. So you have a little different result than what we did on all of our testing, and nobody else may be having that issue. So we are hearing you. We're working to resolve everything as fast as we can. We appreciate everybody's patience with all of this. And having said that, if you do come across something that doesn't look right, you know, let us know, shoot us an email directly to me or to the Moreau support email. And, you know, we'll get it looked at as soon as possible. Jennifer, were there any other questions that have come in?
I don't have any questions. It's unremarkably quiet here. However, did we want to briefly show them the audit log?
Yes, did I skip over that? I meant to show it. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I said I would come back with it. Very good. Okay, yes, we have a master documents audit log. This is what the users don't have access to. So again, your document specialist will see this. We had this feature before. So in the document specialist corner, you could right click and say properties. And at the bottom, it brought up kind of like a bluish box. At the very bottom, it had a little area of actions that had been taken on the document, which is what this is. Now, it only held like 12 to 15 actions, so they would roll off. So you would lose history. But what it tracks is anything that any action that has been taken on these documents, whether it's downloaded, reviewed, edited, approved, you'll see all this. Now, this is all documents, so everything's kind of coming in here as it happens. So probably you might want to look at a specific document. So for instance, type something in. You do need to choose it from the drop down in order for it to register there. And so you can see, okay, here's my controlled documents procedure. You know, it's got quite a lot, well, it's got a couple of pages of history. You'll have much more on a real website. This is just a demo. But you can see you've got your date here. This is 4/25/23, and they kind of go chronologically backwards. But somebody edited it somebody approved it. It was downloaded by these users. You can see who here took these actions. And we don't lose the history now. So this will go way back instead of only seeing the last 12 to 15 people that touched the document. Now, these filter boxes or sort boxes come in handy because you see I looked up a specific document. You can look up a document by number. You can look up a specific action. So, okay, let's see all the approvals here. Again, you just need to select from the drop down. And for some reason, it's still got that control of documents. I don't think it cleared that filter. Let me just come back in. It should clear the filters. Again, if you hit here, if you have something there and you hit here, I think I deleted it. I'm sorry, I went outside of the way I should have done it. If we want to see everything that's approved, here is a better looking list of approvals. So again, don't just come up here and delete it like I just did. You'll want to hit here to exit out. That actually clears the filter. But yeah, so you'll see everything that's been approved. What was the date when it was approved? You know, if you want to see everything downloaded, I don't know why, but you might. Again, that's how that action filter works. And this one's good too, username, okay. What all has any specific user been doing? So you can see Miro admin's histories, pages and pages. They do a lot on this demo site. But yeah, here's everything. They've done reviews, they've done edits, they've downloaded it. So anyway, it's something neat that if you ever need to go back and check any kind of a history on a document. Another improvement that we made just because we felt that little rolling history once 12 people download a document or 15 people, it had rolled off. So that was another big improvement we wanted to add to keep that history there for your documents. And I think, you know what, there is one more thing I want to show you. Settings, there are settings here. You have to be in the My Tasks page and you have to, I want to say you have to be an administrator because I don't think a document specialist will have this edit button here. Like with a lot of our apps, the administrators can come in and change some settings. But again, this is only on the My Tasks page. This is where this setting happens to live. And this is the setting for that next review date. How many months do you want to go between document reviews? You'll see multiple tabs. You don't want to mess with any of these. These are things, for the developers they use for the module. So you don't want to mess with anything. But this last one for Web QMS Master Documents Settings, your default review delay months. So see, this one is set to 1. I've changed. Everybody's should be set at 12. We wanted to make sure you at least get a year on that, whether you use it or not. Okay, it kicks me out after I update it. So if we go back in, so yeah, we see it's set to 12. The document specialist notification days, I was mentioning it's 30 days. If you're using the next review date, it'll send an email out about this document's coming for review. You can change that here, 30 days, 45, 60, however you want to do that. Some of these other ones are up and coming. For instance, there's an auto approval box here, but this is not functioning right now, a version mandatory. These are some things we're working on possibly adding. Your statuses, when I showed you that drop down in your edit attributes area, we have draft, under review, and released. This is where you could change those. So you can have 3 or 4, however many you want to have. You can change them. You would just want to be sure that you enter them just as they are here. I know it's probably really small and hard to see. It looks like they are separated by a semicolon and no spaces. So if you edit anything here, try to do it just like this, or you're going to end up with some kind of errors. Again, I can see that these have semicolons. It's okay to put a space in between 2 words that are one status, but then no spaces. So I just wanted to point that out. Document specialist role, you don't want to mess with that. That's the role we have set for document specialists. And right now the reviewer role is employee, so that if you are assigning reviewers, all employees show up. We haven't set a role for that review function so far, but we may end up adding one. Because we have had a couple of requests, because that list can be really long if you have a large company. So we may implement some type of a role there. So you would have to assign reviewers that role, but we haven't done that yet. So anyway, you've got settings there on the My Tasks area. And you can use them if you're not comfortable doing this, or if you can't remember. Obviously, you can always reach out to us, and we're going to help you. You say, I can't remember, how do I change that number of months? And we'll help you. So.
Mary, I saw that you have a question and you had your hand up. I don't see that you had a question or answer come in the Q&A, but we can touch base with you directly to see if you have something. One question that I do have, Stacy, in the document specialist quarter, when right-clicking on the document to go back in attributes, they did see the approve menu, and he did ask what that stood for. Jason, can you confirm that that's something that we answered for you? I do believe we saw that you did go over that approve button.
You know what? Okay. You know what, Jason? That's I think that's actually a third way. You're only going to see it on these pink ones. You can use that under the old system. And again, this is kind of one of those back doors because this was for the old way that the system worked, and hardly anybody ever saw that approve button. You had to be assigned a document for review before you could see that. Not even a document specialist, not an admin. Nobody had this feature here, which is kind of why I forgot about it. It was very limited to one specific, because we could only assign one person for approval under the old system. And that's who got this button. But now any doc specialist, yes, if you right click. So again, that's a third way. So that's why we didn't really touch on it. But since we are seeing some people that are like, well, we don't want to have to go all the way to my tasks. So we're giving you that option. Yes, you can do it there directly. So that is a good catch, Jason. Thank you for saying that, because that's even quicker than going back in. I have forgotten that shows up for everybody now, which is another change. So yeah, try that. That should approve the document as well. Very good. Yeah. But again, kind of one of those backdoor things. But if it saves you time, sure, use it. Like I said, until we can see about if we can make a change to not require that approval for every document. So awesome. Yeah.
Right.
That was good. I knew exactly what I was talking about. Anybody else have questions? You can submit them through your Q&A right now. Of course, you can email them in as well.
Right, and I'm just going to check my email to make sure we didn't get anything that way. No, I don't see anything that came in that way. All right, and then Mary, we'll follow up with you and touch base with you at the end of this and see if we had answered any of your questions or if you still had something remaining. I know that when we tested this earlier with the webinars, if you were using the browser rather than the Teams application, it did have some limitations. It made it more difficult to do the Q&A session. All right, well, wonderful. Thank you all for joining us today. We will look forward to continuing to upgrade Web QMS and hopefully, make this process smoother for you and, just make improvements all the way around in our process. Great. Stacy, do you have anything else?
No, I just want to thank everyone for being here. It'll save us time down the road. I know I've already met with some people individually, and of course, get as many people here to learn as much as they can. Because even if we meet one-on-one, people ask their quick answers and they want a quick answer. So I show them the basics, so they don't really see necessarily everything. Sometimes it's an overload as well. You guys have been using the system. A lot of you have been with the system for a long time, so you're familiar with the lot. So showing you everything, you pick it up pretty quickly because you're already. Plus, you've already been using it, and you're like, what the heck? So yeah, now hopefully it all makes better sense. Let us know where you still have issues and questions, but yeah, I think it was good.
Great.
So we appreciate it.
As we said at the start of the webinar, we'll go ahead and make this recording available to you once we do some edits, and we'll have that accessible and send it to you, to your admins, and then you can share it throughout your organization. So hopefully you'll have this to kind of rely on and fall back on. All right, wonderful. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.